Hello, future engineers, subscribers, viewers, and students. Here is another video in dynamics, particularly kinematics of particles 4. So I hope that you will enjoy watching. You will learn something from this video, and I hope that you will improve in your engineering preparations, particularly uh, the thinking and the mathematical skills. Problem 4. A loaded railroad car is rolling at a constant velocity when it couples with the spring and a dashpot bumper system. After the coupling, the motion of the car is defined by the relation x equals 60 e to the negative 4.80 sine 16t, where x and t are expressed in millimeters and seconds respectively. Determine the position, the velocity, and the acceleration of the railroad car when t is 0 and b when t is 0.3 seconds. So here is the figure, and we'll begin with the relation x equals 60 e to the negative 4.8t sine 16t. When t is 0, so we have 60 e to the negative 4.8 times 0 sine of 16 times 0. E to the negative 4.8 times 0 is e to the 0, and that is 1. Sine of 16 times 0 is sine of 0, and that is 0. So x is 60 times 1 times 0. So therefore, it is 0. For the velocity is derivative of position with respect to time, dx dt. And we have to factor out 60, and we have derivative of product, exponential, and sine. So 60 quantity e to the negative 4.t times cosine of 16t times 16. Derivative of sine 16t is cosine 16t. And derivative of 16t is 16. Then plus sine 16t, derivative of e to the u is just e to the u du dx. So in this case, derivative of e to the negative 4.80 with respect to t is e to the negative 4.80 times negative 4.8. So plus sine of 16t times e to the negative 4.80 times negative 4.8. Simplifying, we have 60, v is 60, quantity 16, e to the negative 4.80 cosine of 16t. Then minus 4.80 e to the negative 4.80 sine of 16t. We may actually factor out e to the negative 4.80 if you want to simplify the calculations or to simplify the expression for acceleration later, but I just leave the expression in this manner. So substitute t is 0, v is 60, quantity 16, 16 times 1 times 1, cosine of 0 is 1, e to the 0 is 1, then minus 4.8 e to the 0, which is 1, then sine of 0 is 0. So v equals 60 times 16, and that is 960 mm per second. For 960 mm per second rightward. So that's the velocity direction. Then for the acceleration, we're going to differentiate velocity with respect to time, or the second derivative of position with respect to time. So in this expression for v, 60 is already factored out. Then we factor out 16 also. So it is 60 times quantity 16 times first e to the negative 4.t times negative sine 16t times 16 for the derivative of cosine 16t, plus second cosine 16t, derivative of e to the negative 4.80 is e to the negative 4.80 times negative 4.8. Then here we factor out negative 4.8. Then we have derivative of product again. So minus 4.8 times quantity e to the negative 4.80 times cosine 16t times 16. Then plus sine of 16t e to the negative 4.80 times negative 4.8 for the derivative of e to the negative 4.80. So simplifying, combining, so A is 60, quantity negative 256 e to the negative 4.80 sine 16t, then minus 76.8, where 76.8 is 16 times negative 4.8. So negative 76.8 e to the negative 4.80 times cosine 16t. Negative 4.8 times 16 is same, negative 76.8 e to the negative 4.80 cosine of 16t. Then negative 4.8 times negative 4.8 is positive 23.04 e to the negative 4.80 sine of 16t. Combining like terms like this one and this, so auxiliary and these two, these are like terms also. So acceleration equals 60, quantity negative 232.96 e to the negative 4.80 sine 16t, then negative 153.6 e to the negative 4.80 cosine of 16t. Substituting t is 0, a is 60, quantity negative 232.96 e to the 0, which is 1, sine of 0, 0, minus 153.6 times 1 times 1, because cosine of 0 is 1. So acceleration is 60 times negative 153.6, and that's negative 9216 mm per second square. For B, time is 0.3 seconds. So position is 60 e to the negative 4.8 times 0.3 sine of 16 times 0.3. By the way, don't forget to set your calculator in the radian mode, because we have trigonometric function here and the time should be in seconds, so therefore 16 times 0.3 would be in radians. So x is equal to negative 14.16 mm for that case. Then for the velocity, this is the expression for velocity. We substitute the value of time, which is 0.3 seconds for velocity. So we substitute time 0.3 and cosine 16 times 0.3 minus 4.88 to the negative 4.8 times 0.3 sine of 16 times 0.3. So V is, so using your calculator there in the radian mode, 60 times quantity. So it's the expression for velocity after we substitute the value of time, which is 0.3. So V is 60 times, the first term is 0.3317 and the second term is positive 1.1329. Then 60 times these quantities here, we have 87.88 mm per second positive. So that means it is rightward at time t equals 0.3 seconds. Then finally, for acceleration, we have this, the expression for acceleration, 60 times negative 232.96 e to the negative 4.80 sine 16t minus 153.6 e to the negative 4.80 cosine of 16t. Substitute t equals 0.3. So negative 232.96 e to the negative 4.8 times 0.3 sine of 16 times 0.3 minus 153.6 e to the negative 4.8 times e to the negative 4.8 times 0.3 cosine of 16 times 0.3. The value of the first term is, so we have 60, 54.983, and the second term is negative 3.1843. So acceleration is equal to 3108 mm per second square. So that's it for this video. I hope that you were able to follow my solutions and the explanations. And if you find difficulty in the solution, it's because maybe of the calculus part here, which is differentiation. You have to review differentiation also.